For decades, the Bermuda Triangle has been treated as a place of myth. Stories of vanishing ships, lost aircraft, and strange forces have filled books, documentaries, and late-night conversations. Yet when the noise is stripped away, what remains is something quieter and more complex. This stretch of the Atlantic Ocean, roughly between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, is not just a legend zone. It is a real maritime region with busy shipping lanes, detailed records, and a long paper trail of human movement across deep water. To understand the true mystery, it helps to step away from rumor and return to what was actually written down. The modern idea of the Bermuda Triangle did not begin with ancient sailors or lost civilizations. It began on paper. In September 1950, a reporter named E.V.W. Jones published a short article for the Associated Press describing several ships lost in the Atlantic. He did not use the term Bermuda Triangle, but he hinted that something unusual was happening in that region. 2 years later, Fate magazine published a piece by George X. Sand that went further, connecting separate incidents into a single pattern. By the mid-1960s, writer Vincent Gaddis finally gave the area its now famous name, describing it as a triangle of disappearance. What is often forgotten is that these early writers relied heavily on real cases. Ship logs, insurance reports, and naval records were their sources. They did not invent vessels or flights out of thin air. The mystery grew because some of these cases genuinely resisted simple explanation. Even today, when historians and underwater archaeologists review the data, a small number of incidents still do not fit neatly into weather reports or human error. One of the earliest cases often cited occurred in 1918, during the final year of World War I. The USS Cyclops, a massive U.S. Navy cargo ship, departed from Barbados carrying over 10,000 tons of manganese ore. It had a crew of 309 people. The ship sent no distress call. It never arrived at its destination in Baltimore. Despite an extensive search, no wreckage was found. The Navy later stated that the cause of the loss was unknown. This was not folklore. It was an official conclusion written into naval history. The Cyclops was not alone. In the years that followed, merchant ships traveling through the same general waters reported strange navigational problems. Compasses that drifted without reason. Radio signals that faded faster than expected. Some of these reports were later linked to known causes, such as equipment failure or solar activity. Others remained unresolved simply because the data was incomplete. When a ship sinks in deep water, especially before modern tracking systems, the ocean often keeps its silence. Aviation added another layer to the story. As commercial and military flights increased after World War II, the airspace above the Atlantic became just as important as the sea below. On December 5, 1945, 5 U.S. Navy training planes known as Flight 19 took off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The pilots were experienced. The weather was fair. Yet the squadron never returned. Radio transmissions revealed confusion about position and direction. Rescue planes sent after them also disappeared, though one was later linked to an explosion reported by a nearby ship. Official investigations concluded that navigation errors likely played a role, possibly worsened by poor communication and fading daylight. Still, the final report admitted that the exact sequence of events could not be fully reconstructed. This lack of closure helped cement the Bermuda Triangle as more than just a dangerous route. It became a symbol of uncertainty. By the 1970s, the legend had outpaced the facts. Books claimed hundreds of ships and planes vanished without trace. Maps were drawn with dramatic angles. Some authors even suggested ancient technology or unknown forces beneath the waves. Yet when researchers returned to the original records, many of these claims fell apart. Some ships were lost far outside the triangle. Others were later found, misreported, or never missing at all. This does not mean the region is ordinary. The Atlantic here is shaped by powerful natural forces. The Gulf Stream moves through the area like a fast river within the ocean, capable of carrying debris far from its origin. Storms can form quickly, especially before the era of satellite tracking. Shallow banks like the Great Bahama Bank can confuse depth readings and increase the risk of grounding. These factors explain many losses but not all. What makes the Bermuda Triangle relevant to discussions of deep-sea mystery and unexplained history is not the number of disappearances, but the nature of the unanswered ones. When underwater archaeology teams search for sunken structures or lost wrecks in this region, they are not chasing myths. They are following coordinates, logs, and last known positions. Each dive is an attempt to match written history with physical evidence. In recent decades, advanced sonar and submersibles have located many long-lost ships across the Atlantic. Some were found exactly where records suggested. Others appeared miles away, carried by currents or broken apart by time. A few expected wrecks, however, remain missing. They rest somewhere beyond current search zones, buried under sediment or scattered across deep ocean plains. This is where the Bermuda Triangle shifts from legend to question. Not a question of monsters or magic, but of limits. Limits of record keeping, limits of technology, and limits of what can be recovered from deep water. In the study of lost underwater cities and submerged civilizations, archaeologists face similar gaps. Absence of evidence does not always mean evidence of absence. Sometimes it simply means the search is not over. By revisiting the Bermuda Triangle through documented cases, the story becomes less dramatic and more human. It becomes a record of sailors trusting charts, pilots trusting instruments, and oceans responding in ways that are sometimes predictable and sometimes not. The mystery then is not why so many stories were told, but why a small number of real events still resist full explanation. As we move forward, it becomes necessary to examine how science, weather data, and navigation tools have changed our understanding of this region, and which incidents still stand apart even after careful review. The next part will begin there, following how researchers tried to close the gaps between legend, loss, and what the deep sea has quietly held onto for more than a century. As technology improved in the second half of the 20th century, the Bermuda Triangle slowly became less mysterious on paper, even if it remained difficult in practice. Weather satellites, radar, GPS navigation, and computerized flight tracking transformed how ships and aircraft moved through the Atlantic. Routes that once depended on compass readings and visual landmarks were now guided by constant data streams. Because of this, researchers were able to go back and test older disappearance cases against modern understanding. One of the first things scientists noticed was how different the ocean looked before satellites existed. In the 1940s and 1950s, storm systems could form and dissolve between reporting intervals. A ship might encounter severe weather without any nearby vessel knowing it happened. When records were reviewed decades later, the absence of a reported storm was sometimes mistaken for calm conditions. In reality, many vessels likely faced intense squalls or rogue waves that left no survivors and no witnesses. The Gulf Stream played a major role in reshaping these conclusions. Flowing at speeds of up to 4 knots, it is one of the strongest ocean currents in the world. Wreckage from a sinking ship can be carried dozens or even hundreds of miles from where the incident occurred. This explains why search operations often failed to find debris near a vessel's last reported position. It also explains why some ships listed as never found were later discovered far outside their expected zones. Yet even after adjusting for weather and currents, not every case could be resolved. Some aviation incidents in particular remained incomplete due to missing data. Before the widespread use of flight data recorders, investigators relied on radio logs and eyewitness reports. If a plane went down at sea without sending a clear distress signal, there was little to analyze. The ocean floor beneath much of the Bermuda Triangle is thousands of meters deep, placing wrecks beyond the reach of early recovery missions. This depth is what connects the region to broader discussions of deep-sea mystery and underwater archaeology. Large areas of the Atlantic remain unmapped in fine detail. Even today, more is known about the surface of Mars than about certain parts of Earth's seabed. When researchers search for sunken structures or lost vessels in this region, they are often working with incomplete maps and limited dive windows. In the 1990s, advances in side-scan sonar allowed teams to locate shipwrecks with greater accuracy. Several vessels once linked to Bermuda Triangle stories were finally identified. Their conditions told quiet but powerful stories. Hulls twisted by pressure. Cargo scattered by impact. evidence of fire or structural failure that aligned with historical reports. Each discovery removed one myth from the list, replacing it with a documented cause. Still, some wrecks expected to be found were not. The USS Cyclops, for example, remains missing. No confirmed debris has ever been identified, despite targeted searches. Some historians believe the ship may have suffered a structural failure due to its heavy cargo and design weaknesses. Others suggest it could have capsized during rough seas. These explanations are reasonable, but without physical evidence, they remain theories. The official Navy position has not changed. The loss is unexplained. This is where the conversation shifts away from sensationalism and toward unanswered questions. An unexplained incident does not require a supernatural cause to be intriguing. It requires only that the available evidence does not fully explain the outcome. In this sense, the Bermuda Triangle shares common ground with other ancient ocean discoveries, where ruins or artifacts are found without clear context. Along the coasts of the Caribbean and the Bahamas, underwater archaeologists have documented submerged roads, stone formations, and harbor structures. Some date to known historical periods, while others are harder to place. Natural rock formations can appear artificial, especially when viewed through early sonar images. In the past, these images were sometimes presented as proof of lost underwater cities. Later surveys showed that many were natural features shaped by erosion and tectonic movement. However, not all submerged structures were misidentified. Rising sea levels after the last ice age flooded coastal settlements across the world. In the Mediterranean, entire ports now lie underwater. In the Indian Ocean, remains of ancient towns have been discovered beneath shallow seas. These findings confirm that submerged civilizations are not fantasy, but part of human history. The challenge is separating real archaeological evidence from visual illusion. The Bermuda Triangle region has not produced confirmed ruins of an advanced lost civilization, but it has revealed how easily gaps in data can invite speculation. When sonar returns show unfamiliar shapes, interpretation matters. Responsible underwater archaeology demands slow verification, repeat scans, and physical inspection where possible. Without this, stories can grow faster than facts. Modern research institutions now approach the Bermuda Triangle differently. Instead of asking why the area is cursed, they ask how navigation, weather, and human decision-making intersect under stress. Many incidents once labeled mysterious are now understood as chains of small errors. A compass reading slightly off. A pilot misjudging distance. A storm forming faster than expected. Alone, each factor is manageable. Together, they can be fatal. Even so, a small number of cases remain open. Not because they defy science but because they lack evidence. Wreckage that has not been found cannot be analyzed. Logs that were never written cannot be read. This absence is not unique to the Bermuda Triangle, but the region's history has made it a focal point for these discussions. By the early 2000s, most serious researchers agreed on one point: the Bermuda Triangle is not an anomaly in terms of accident rates. When adjusted for traffic volume, it is no more dangerous than other busy ocean regions. And yet, the stories persist. Not because they are exaggerated, but because some questions still have no final answers. The mystery then has changed shape. It is no longer about ships vanishing into nothingness. It is about how much of history depends on fragile records, and how easily the ocean can erase them. As underwater exploration continues, new discoveries may still emerge from these waters, not to confirm legends, but to complete unfinished chapters of real events. By the time deep-sea exploration reached the 21st century, the Bermuda Triangle was no longer treated as a place of mystery by default. It was treated as a technical challenge. Researchers began approaching it the same way they approached any difficult ocean region, with data, patience, and the understanding that most answers would come slowly, if at all. Modern expeditions started with mapping. For much of the Atlantic, especially east of Florida and north of the Caribbean, the seabed drops quickly into deep trenches and rolling plains. Early nautical charts focused on safe surface routes, not what lay beneath. When multi-beam sonar became widely available, scientists could finally see the ocean floor in detail. These scans revealed thousands of wrecks across the Atlantic, many of them unknown or undocumented. Some discoveries helped close long-standing questions. In 2012, a team searching off the coast of Florida identified several aircraft wrecks from World War II training missions. These planes had crashed during routine exercises and were later loosely connected to Bermuda Triangle stories. Their locations, conditions, and damage patterns matched known accident reports. There was no mystery left, just confirmation delayed by decades. Similar work has been done with merchant ships. Sidescan sonar has located steel hulls broken cleanly in half, suggesting structural failure rather than explosion or collision. In several cases, cargo records showed ships were heavily loaded beyond recommended limits. When combined with rough seas, these conditions could explain sudden sinking without time for distress calls. Each verified wreck narrowed the space where unanswered questions could exist. Yet not all searches end with discoveries. Deep water remains the largest obstacle. Large areas of the Bermuda Triangle region sit beyond 4,000 meters in depth. At those levels, pressure is extreme, visibility is limited, and exploration costs rise sharply. Sending remotely operated vehicles into these zones requires significant funding, and priority is usually given to sites with strong evidence or historical importance. This is why some cases remain unresolved, not because they are inexplicable but because they are inaccessible. The ocean floor is not a static archive. Currents move sediment, burying wrecks slowly over time. Metal corrodes. Wood collapses. In some cases, a ship may be reduced to fragments scattered across miles. Even when sonar detects anomalies, identifying them requires close inspection, which is not always possible. The USS Cyclops remains the most cited example. Despite targeted efforts, no confirmed remains have been located. The ship's last reported position places it in a region where the seabed is uneven and poorly mapped. The manganese ore it carried was dense and heavy, which may have caused the vessel to sink rapidly and break apart on descent. If that happened, the wreckage could be widely dispersed, making identification extremely difficult. This kind of uncertainty is familiar to underwater archaeologists. When searching for submerged civilizations or ancient coastal settlements, researchers often work with incomplete information. Rising sea levels after the last ice age flooded shorelines where people once lived. In many places, only stone foundations remain, hidden beneath layers of sand. Finding them requires both precise modeling of ancient coastlines and extensive surveying. The same principles apply to modern wrecks. Last known positions are estimates, not exact points. Navigation systems before GPS could drift by miles. A slight error compounded over hours could place a vessel far from where records suggest it should be. When this happens in deep water, the search area expands beyond practical limits. Despite this, the Bermuda Triangle continues to attract scientific attention because it sits at the intersection of busy travel routes and challenging natural conditions. It is an ideal case study for how accidents happen at sea and in the air. Not as isolated events, but as sequences influenced by environment, technology, and human judgment. One important shift in recent research is the focus on communication. Several aviation incidents linked to the region show signs of radio confusion. Frequencies overlapped. Transmissions were misunderstood. In some cases, pilots believed they were communicating with one control station when they were actually speaking to another. This led to incorrect guidance and growing disorientation. Modern air traffic systems have largely eliminated these risks, but they were real factors in earlier decades. Weather modeling has also changed how past events are understood. Reanalysis projects now use historical data to reconstruct weather patterns from decades ago. These models have shown that some days previously thought to be calm actually contain fast-moving storm cells or strong wind shear. This does not solve every case, but it provides context that was missing when early investigations were conducted. As more data fills in the gaps, the Bermuda Triangle becomes less of a single mystery and more of a collection of individual stories, each with its own circumstances. Some are resolved through evidence. Others remain open due to missing information. This is not failure, but a reflection of how history works when it depends on fragile records and hostile environments. Importantly, no credible expedition has found evidence of unknown technology, unnatural forces, or advanced submerged cities within the Bermuda Triangle. Claims of pyramids or energy fields have not held up under scrutiny. What has been found are shipwrecks, aircraft remains, and natural geological formations shaped by time and pressure. These discoveries may not satisfy every expectation, but they align with what underwater archaeology is designed to do: document, not speculate. The lasting interest in the Bermuda Triangle comes from its balance between explanation and absence. Enough is known to dismiss the wildest claims, yet not enough to close every case. This makes it a reminder that the ocean does not always give clear answers, even when approached with modern tools. As research continues, attention is slowly shifting from the idea of a mysterious triangle to a broader understanding of how oceans preserve and erase human activity. In the final part, we will step back and look at what the Bermuda Triangle ultimately represents in the study of unexplained history, and why its story still matters in an age where so much of the world has already been mapped. When the Bermuda Triangle is viewed from a distance, stripped of its sharp lines on a map and its dramatic reputation, it becomes something more grounded. It becomes a case study in how humans interact with the ocean, and how history is shaped by what survives and what does not. The region itself is not unique in its dangers. What makes it stand out is the volume of attention it received during a short period of time, when technology was advancing faster than understanding. By the late 20th century, serious historians began asking a different question. Not why ships vanished there, but why this particular place became so famous for it. Shipping routes through the western Atlantic expanded rapidly after World War II. Air travel increased at the same time. More movement meant more accidents, and more accidents meant more records. When a few high-profile cases lacked clear explanations, they stood out against the growing confidence in modern navigation. This gap between expectation and outcome is important. Earlier generations accepted that the sea was unpredictable. Losses were tragic but not shocking. By the mid-1900s, people believed technology had reduced uncertainty. When something still went wrong, it felt unnatural even when it wasn't. The Bermuda Triangle became a symbol of that discomfort, a place where control seemed to fail. What modern analysis shows is that most incidents once grouped under the triangle do not share a single cause. Some were weather-related. Others involved mechanical failure. Many were influenced by human decisions made under pressure. A captain choosing to stay on schedule despite worsening conditions. A pilot trusting a faulty instrument. These moments rarely appear dramatic in reports, but they are where outcomes are decided. This understanding connects the Bermuda Triangle to broader themes and unexplained history. Many ancient mysteries exist not because something impossible happened, but because records are incomplete. Stone structures erode. Writing disappears. Context is lost. When underwater archaeologists study submerged ruins, they face the same challenge. A wall without tools nearby raises questions. A road without clear endpoints invites speculation. The mystery grows in the space left by missing information. In the Atlantic, the ocean performs this erasure constantly. It does not preserve events evenly. Some wrecks are found quickly. Others vanish beneath sediment or break apart beyond recognition. This uneven record shapes how stories are told later. The Bermuda Triangle is one of the clearest examples of how absence can become narrative. There is also a cultural factor. The triangle emerged during a time when popular media was expanding rapidly. Magazines, television, and paperback books could spread ideas faster than ever before. A compelling story reached millions, even if later research challenged it. Corrections rarely travel as far as the original claim. As a result, the legend outlived the evidence that weakened it. Yet dismissing the Bermuda Triangle entirely would be a mistake. Not because it hides something supernatural, but because it highlights how fragile human knowledge can be in extreme environments. Even today, deep-sea mystery remains a real field of study. Large portions of the ocean floor are still unexplored. New wrecks are discovered every year, sometimes by accident, sometimes through focused searches. In recent years, Researchers have used autonomous underwater vehicles to map areas once considered unreachable. These machines move slowly, scanning the seabed with precision. When anomalies are found, they are cataloged, not sensationalized. A shape becomes a coordinate. A signal becomes a question. This process lacks drama, but it builds understanding piece by piece. Some of these surveys have taken place within the broader Bermuda Triangle region. They have not revealed lost underwater cities or unexplained ruins, but they have expanded the known inventory of human presence beneath the sea. Each wreck adds context. Each discovery narrows uncertainty. Over time, the unknown becomes smaller, even if it never disappears completely. The real lesson of the Bermuda Triangle may lie in how stories evolve when evidence is partial. When early writers connected separate incidents, they created coherence where none existed. Later research showed that the connections were often superficial. Still, the idea persisted because it answered an emotional need. It gave shape to uncertainty. In the study of submerged civilizations, similar patterns appear. A structure found underwater can inspire bold claims before careful analysis tempers them. This does not mean curiosity is wrong. It means curiosity works best when paired with patience. Underwater archaeology, like history itself, moves slowly. Today, most maritime organizations do not recognize the Bermuda Triangle as a distinct hazard zone. Insurance companies do not charge higher premiums for travel through it. Pilots and captains follow the same procedures there as they do elsewhere. From a practical standpoint, the triangle has dissolved into normal geography. And yet, it still matters. It matters as a reminder that documentation is never complete. That even in an age of satellites and sensors, some events leave only questions behind. The ocean does not explain itself. It holds what it holds and releases what it will. The Bermuda Triangle, revisited through records rather than rumor, becomes less mysterious but more meaningful. It tells a story about how humans seek patterns, how myths form around gaps, and how science responds not with certainty, but with better questions. The mystery is no longer about disappearance. It is about understanding how history is written when parts of it lie beneath thousands of meters of water. In that sense, the Bermuda Triangle belongs not to fantasy, but to the long, unfinished work of exploration. The same work that continues to uncover ancient ocean discoveries, document sunken structures, and piece together the submerged chapters of human movement across the planet. Some answers will come. Others will remain beyond reach. And that, quietly, is where the story ends.